What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Today I'm gonna be talking to you guys about drugs. Okay, so today I'm gonna be talking to you about drugs. So, addictive drugs versus non-addictive drugs, right? What my opinion on both are. And I'm gonna tell you what I think addictive drugs are. So, so for example, so let me just break it down to you guys. Like when you see drug addicts in the streets, when you see tecatos, druggies, junkies, hypes, tweakers, whatever you want to call them. Those are, yeah, your automatic reaction is drug addict, right? When you see all those people. But in my opinion, they're not all drug addicts. So, so like for example, like doing coke, doing meth, whatever. Those are all and doing and popping tachas, right? Those are considered. Yeah, they are drugs, but not all of them are addictive drugs. Um, like for example, Yaska. Um, that's medicine, right? We all know that's medicine. That's medicine. But if you abuse anything you abuse is considered a drug, right? So even like I was saying, even Yaska is considered a drug. It's not really a drug, and it's not an addictive drug. But if you abuse it, well, hold on, let me back up. Yaska is medicine. If anything you abuse is a drug, right? So if you abuse Yaska, it has a drug just like Tylenol. If you abuse Tylenol, it's a drug. So my opinion let me tell you something about meth. Meth, when I was growing up, that was the epidemic. Meth was the epidemic at the time. The tweakers, all that shit, right? So tweakers, like the meth is not really, yeah, it's a controlled substance, but it's really not a drug in my opinion. In my opinion, it's not a. Let me back up. So meth it is a controlled substance, but it's not an addictive drug. Even though there's people out there that wanna pretend like, when they don't have it, they want their family or certain people to feel sorry for them, and be like, I'm Alias and this and that. I want your family to feel sorry for you, so maybe you'll break them off some feria or something. But in my opinion, it's not a drug. Even though people will lose everything, and they'll sell their ass and fucking all their fucking belongings for it, it's not a drug. They'll lose everything, and they'll even become hobos in the streets and go backpacking it. In my opinion, it's not a drug. There's meth and coke and weed, and there's other things. There's ain't drugs in my opinion. Yeah, you got like when they lose everything they got for meth and shit like that and go backpacking it in the streets. So in my opinion, they're just lazy. They're lazy. They don't want no responsibilities. They don't want to have to pay rent. They don't want to have to go to work every day or do certain things to they don't want to be responsible. They don't want to have to take care of their kids. So what they do is they just go to the streets and they just depend if they get SSI or any of that shit. They'll just depend on that check, and they'd rather just depend on that and get high all the time. In my opinion, they just like getting high. They're lazy. Like meth, you won't, like if you quit cold turkey, ain't nothing gonna happen to you. The only thing is you're gonna sleep it off. You're gonna eat and sleep. That's when it comes down. When they come down off meth, that's what's gonna happen. Nobody ain't gonna die from that shit. So they just be bullshitting everybody when they're all like, I'm hurting, I'm Alias and shit like that, right? That's not a drug in my opinion. Well, it is a drug, but it's not like a drug that you're gonna die over. The only way you were gonna die over if you smoke too much dope or you shoot it up or whatever. And however you prefer to do it. The only way you're gonna if your heart explodes, that's the only way you're gonna die from that shit. Or if you're too young and you're messing with that shit, which I don't encourage. I don't recommend at all. I don't recommend doing drugs at all. But yeah, if you're too young, don't mess with that shit. I did that shit as a youngster. You know, people could label me as a drug addict, but you know, I wasn't selling all my shit for it. All right. The next, what I think are addictive drugs are like opiates. You know, like fentanyl, carga, fucking tachas. You know, like Narcos and Oxycontin and all that shit. Those are addictive drugs. Alcohol. Those are all addictive drugs, right? Like you can't quit those ones if you're strung out on that shit. You can't quit cold turkey off of that shit. You gotta actually you have to get weaned off of that. That's why they have methadone, fentanyl, and shit like that. You know, a lot of OxyContin. People who are addicted to, they get addicted to drugs. They become tecatos and shit. And let me tell you a little something about actually tecatos. When I was a youngster, I actually used to look up to them. I used to think they were all gangster and shit like that. But as they're using more and more, they become like the drugs get the best of them. You know, they're not doing the drugs are doing them. Obviously, you know, every morning they're sick. They're having withdrawals, shit like that. You know, they think everybody owes them, which they don't. You know, it's I don't know. It's just something they have in their head. Yeah, like I said, those are just what I think. The drugs that I think are like the opiates. Those are drugs. Alcoholism is hard to you can't just quit cold turkey yet. You actually need help to get off of that. You know, that's just my opinion on the two things where I think what addictive drugs are and what are non-addictive drugs. I just wanted to let you guys know that. Until then, next one I'm out.